ladies and gentlemen, power is over. But that does not mean for one instant of a second that the fun is over. Without a doubt, you are here because the power is out. So stick around, because it's Power Out. Yeah, it's Power Out.
Happy holidays, friends. It is a special edition of Power Out here on lovewrestling.ca. We are here to react to NWA Hard Times 2. Hope you caught the show. I am joined by two of my favorite guests here on Power Out. I am joined by, of course, the enigmatic Wordsmith, who does the fine introduction that you hear every single week. And, of course, making her return to the show, it's Ella J. How are you, friends? Ella, let's start with you.
I'm tired, but I'm fantastic to be here again on Power Out. How are you two?
Doing quite well. Wordsmith, yes.
Inebriated with wrestling and a few other things at the moment, but doing very well. Happy to be here and speaking about wrestling.
Absolutely. Speaking of favorite guests of mine, two others have joined us in the chat room. Josiah McDonald, I couldn't join in for the recap tonight, but I'm here for the review. So thank you very much for joining us. And of course, Love Wrestling's own Astrid. Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
And a shout out right back
which
at Ella.
name do we use for Astrid today? The natural, the big star, the superstar at this point.
The big superstar.
The big superstar that's absolutely natural and talented. I'm vamping. Sorry, Zach, continue.
No, by all means, we have room to vamp. Truth be told, I was looking at this card, which had something in the ballpark of 13 matches, and I was so worried that the card was going to end sometime around 12 o'clock, and we'd really have to just blitz through this recap. But we got time to vamp, friends, and that's nice. It's nice to be comfortable in that regard.
They definitely utilized the pre-show starting at 7 to their advantage with getting 3 matches underway relatively quickly and setting up a lot of promos too before the actual main card.
Yeah. Speaking of this pre-show, I had the same problem for the last set of NWA pay-per-views. Is I wasn't exactly sure when the actual pre-shows were starting, so that kind of led to me only jumping in around 7:30 or so. From what I understand, between the three of us, we haven't really covered the whole pre-show pay-per-view. But Ella, you caught the women's tag team title match. I caught the gauntlet match, and unfortunately, it seems like we all missed Jax Dane versus Michael Mims. So with that, Ella, tell us about what happened in the women's tag team match, which was originally scheduled as the Hex versus Tootie Lynn and Kylie Ray.
Yeah, so originally it was supposed to be a triple threat, actually, between the Hex versus Kylie Ray and Tootie Lynn versus Natalia Markova and Lady Frost. But Lady Frost revealed a couple days ago on Twitter, I believe it was, that she was feeling under the weather and wouldn't be cleared in time to wrestle. And so they named a replacement tonight to be Natalia's partner, and it was revealed to be Missa Kate, who's kind of a lot on the Texas and southern on the southern states. So it makes sense that she was kind of brought in, as that's basically where she works around on the independents, a lot in Texas and like around Georgia and all of that. And also, though, before the match actually started, Taryn Terrell comes out with Genocide and Paula Mayfield and reveals that Genocide is going to be cashing in. She won the title opportunity. And so instead of going after Camille, or she said even like the world heavyweight champion Trevor Murdoch, that she would be cashing in her title opportunity on the NWA Women's Tag Team Championship. So it became a fatal 4-way match. Really, it was a tornado tag team match. Like each team was in all both sides. You had you had one competitor from one team going against another, and then in the other corner you had another competitor going against another competitor. And so I think they had maybe around probably 7, 8 minutes. I think from the time the bell rang to the finish, there was a cool part where Marty Bell went to the top rope and everybody else was on the floor, and she did that diving crossbody onto everybody. So that was cool. And in the end, I'm kind of surprised though at who took the pin. So in the end, it ended up being Allison Kay, Marty Bell, and Tootie Lynn in the corner. And then Allison Kay and Marty Bell hit the Hex Marks the Spot on Tootie Lynn. And I'm kind of surprised that Tootie Lynn was the one to eat the pin. But again, in the end, the NWA Women's Tag Team Champions, the Hex, did end up retaining. I am glad that they are heading into 2022, well, assuming tapings are coming up, assuming that they are going into 2022 as the champs. But it's cool too to see Kylie Rae back in a wrestling ring after a little bit of a hiatus. So that was cool too, to see a mix of some newer faces and also a surprise fourth team added too.
Very cool. Thank you for correcting me there. I that was my mistake, thinking it was originally slated as a 2-on-2 traditional tag team match. It was, but yes, I am disappointed that I missed it because I was really excited to see Kylie Rae get into the wrestling ring. You can't see it off screen, but right now my cat is attacking my ugly Christmas sweater, and I apologize for that. I'm just going to get him out of the way.
It's not ugly enough, Zach.
It's not ugly enough. He's doing his. And actually Josiah is popping in to, reflect my sentiments on the matter. The Champion Series continues to taunt us. Like, again, that absolute mess of a series and the fallout with these championship opportunities, which are not clearly defined, are not really gelling. But I'm glad that there was a quality Fatal 4-Way women's tag team match happening in the mix. Gonna say hello to a couple people who are joining us as well. Dan J, thank you very much for joining us. Bobby has been joining us for a lot of the NWA coverage lately, so I'm glad to welcome you back to the show. And absolutely, there is a ticket cameo. And Dare Amazing. Click the wrong person. Dare Amazing, thank you so much for tuning in as always. And Turnbuckle Talk. Hey, good to see you all, friends. Thanks so much for tuning into our Hard Times 2 reaction. Now, sorry, I'm just going to get the cat off my shoulder. But Ella, you did say that you caught maybe the tail end of Mims versus Dane. So what happened there?
Yeah, so Jax Dane, Mims was laid out in the middle of the ring, and then Jax Dane really got cocky and kind of made a lackadaisical pin, but then Mims reversed it into a roll-up pin. So Mims took home the victory and quickly rolled out of the ring, and Jax Dane was not happy, to say the least.
Man, my thoughts about that match, having not seen it, when I saw that they were on the pre-show, I was just originally thinking like either of these guys could have been challenging Trevor Murdoch for the NWA heavyweight championship, and there was reasons that are going to unfold later on in the card, but we'll get there in a little bit. And I want to do one more quick shout out before we get into the gauntlet and the main card. But Big Ben Ortmans is joining us. What's up, you sexy son bitches? Thanks so much. Congratulations on a great fundraiser for Danhausen this past Friday at the showcase for Crossbody Pro Wrestling. It's on my queue to check out on twitch.tv/BigBenIsAngry. So y'all should do yourself a favor and check it out because it's a great card. But do so after you enjoy this particular episode of Power Out.
And while you're doing this, love that Danhausen. Support that Danhausen. And most importantly, love that Danhausen.
Absolutely, all day, every day. Very nice, very evil. This is a pro Danhausen network, which I think all networks should be, personally. Wordsmith, I don't want to keep going ahead without leaving you behind, but were you hoping to catch the tag title match? Were you hoping to catch Mims versus Dane? Where's your head at in the pre-show?
I was hoping that the tag match would be on the pay-per-view, but one can only dream so much that the women's tag team titles would be on the main show. But I'm not going to get into that because it's my resolution in 2021 to be nice and say things positive, so I won't get into that. But as long as they were good and as long as everybody got their proverbial stuff in, I won't use that other word, but I'll use that one instead. I'm happy with it. I'm happy that they're even on the show at all. So yeah, I was in an Uber trying to get home to see any of this and failing miserably. So I'm happy to sit by and hear about a pre-show that I'll be watching probably this evening and going, damn, I wish I could have seen it live.
Very wise call. One more last update on the Danhausen fundraiser at Crossbody Pro Wrestling. He just sent him 610 Canadian human dollars today. Thank you very much, Love Wrestling, for the generous donation. Again, like I can't really speak to my own involvement on that. I'm imagining Spencer was a better part of it, but believe me, Love Wrestling is very happy to support such an awesome cause. But we got a gauntlet to really jump into. This was for the qualifying match for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship match. Again, like there's not a lot of substance to this kind of battle royal. There was a lot of very familiar names, but at the same peppered in with kind of like strangers to NWA television. So it was really hard to really get invested in a better part of the field of this match. But essentially, the match boiled down to the final three, seeing PJ Hawks, Homicide, and Kerry Morton, son of Ricky Morton. Kerry Morton had been going the distance for a better part of the match. He went all the way to the finals. Homicide was able to take out PJ with a cutter, and Homicide spends some time really just toying with the younger Morton. Kerry Morton gets a little fire, but ultimately he just falls to another cutter from Homicide, who picks up the W and moves on in this to the finals of this tournament, if I understand the brackets of this correctly. Now, it was a pretty impressive field that they had. They had C.W. Anderson, they had Davari, they had the Hawks Aries, and of course a surprise appearance by the legend himself, Ricky Morton.
What?
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to see him.
I definitely have to watch the pre-show.
He had a couple generations, father and son.
Yeah. There was some nice father and son spots, like when Hawks Aries and the Mortons were kind of facing off with one another. Now, Homicide picks up the W. Was it the right person to move ahead? Wordsmith, let's jump to you.
I didn't see it, but I like Homicide, so yes.
Absolutely
My
fair.
biased opinion. I like everybody in this match that I know about, but Homicide, yep. I'm pro. Oh, wow. I can't say that on this network. I'll get in trouble. I am pro the individual that won. There, I saved it. That's why they call me the Wordsmith. I can dig myself out of any horrible situation.
That's true.
Very wise choice of words. Ella J, Homicide picking up the W. Is there anyone else you would have liked to see pick up the win here?
No, I think it's really cool because I watched Homicide back in like TNA like many, many years ago. And so it's cool that kind of in the end, Kerry Morton came out second. I believe he came out like second in the gauntlet and went the distance to the final too. And we got to see his dad in there too. So it was cool that they ended up kind of with a veteran with like a 19, 20-year-old in the finals with Kerry Morton too and Homicide. And like Dan said, I'm not going to be upset with the company pushing Homicide in 2021. I think it's cool that we're showcasing generations of wrestling. So it's cool to see Homicide back in action for sure.
Absolutely. Like when the match was announced, like Homicide was a pick that like I wanted to win, but I didn't really think I didn't really like his odds. I thought he was there to put people over. I really liked what Kerry Morton did. Like you said, Ella, he came out second in the gauntlet and he went the distance and he spent some time in the ring with the veteran Homicide and he looked good pretty much all the way through. Dare amazing. It absolutely was fun. And again, you don't have to order the pay-per-view for that one because this was part of the very free pre-show available on NWA's YouTube. So again, they've got a lot of gems on there, and this gauntlet is certainly one worth checking out. Bobby weighing in, I would like to see more of Kerry Morton in the NWA. Friend, you are not alone. He won me over. Like I'm not like fully fledged Kerry Morton just yet, but he's made a lot of strides in this very first appearance that I've seen him wrestle. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some more of him. But with that, we move on to the main card. Proper pay-per-view. Hard Times kicks off with a quick promo from Trevor Murdoch doing his own variation of the classic Dusty Rhodes promo. This one aimed at Mike Knox's direction. But the action kicks off with Rhett Titus taking on Austin Aries. This is the second in a qualifying match for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Tournament. From what I understand, these guys are involved in the proper tournament while the winner of the Battle Royal is going on to the finals. At least that's kind of like what I gathered from the dialogue at the commentary table. The match itself, very back and forth technical action. The finish comes with Rhett Titus hitting a big suplex, but Aries is able to keep his hand on the rope. Rhett Titus looks for the frog splash. Aries with the discus forearm, dropkick, brainbuster, picks up the W. Austin Aries advances in the tournament. Friends, Austin Aries is a bit of a loaded character, so I will, I'll ask you how you feel about the match, but if you don't want to discuss it, I will not press the issue. And Wordsmith, what did you think of this one?
Have you ever seen the movie Clue?
Mm-hmm.
Some of you may know where I'm going with this. When I see Austin Aries on my television screen, I hate him so much. Flames on the side of my face. I don't care. I feel, and you know what? There's another individual on this show who, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. You know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That, I don't even remember the other guy who was wrestling name because I just stood there saying, I hate you. I hate you. Oh, and what's this? Oh, I found another note. I hate you.
Always with a way with words.
Guess it was a good match. I don't know.
Yeah. Like the match itself was fine, and certainly Austin Aries' presence prevented me from getting fully invested. I liked what I saw from Rhett Titus. He's not a person I'm familiar with, but there were a couple spots that really caught my attention, like that little, for lack of a better term, I'm going to call it the baby pile driver. Like Austin Aries was doing a headstand, so just Rhett Titus turned it into a pile driver. Ella, what did you think of the match?
Personally, I think the show would have been, and again, I'm not the booker, so whatever. I think it would have been cooler if they would have opened with the next match with OGK. Because I think that would have been, the crowd would have been more like amped for that matchup with Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Personally,
can I be honest? That match, the second match, saved it for me. I ignored the first match. I came in halfway through and thought, well, the pre-show's still on. That's awesome. Sorry, Ella, go ahead.
No, I mean, I pretty much shared the same sentiments. I mean, it was a fine match overall. Two very skilled competitors. I mean, we've seen Rhett Titus in Ring of Honor before. Obviously, we've seen Austin Aries in Impact and WWE and a lot of other places. This tournament, though, I'm not too familiar with their junior heavyweight division, so I don't know who else is in this tournament, or who even he's going to be facing next. But I think it was a fine match overall. I do think it would have been, the crowd maybe would have been more invested into the actual main beginning of the card with the second match that we saw.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I were to venture a guess about what the rest of this junior heavyweight field is going to look like, it's probably going to be a lot of the faces that we just saw in the Battle Royal who didn't advance to the finals will now have the opportunity to fill out the card. Dan J jumping in. Zach, if you like tag team wrestling, and I do, All Night Express, Titus and King. Trust me, Kenny King being the king in question. Thank you for the recommendation. I will absolutely check that out. But yeah, I want to jump into tag team match discussion because we jump into that match that Ella would have put in the opening contest, and I think I agree because this was a very hot opening match, would-be opening match between Kratos.
No, it is the opening match. We're just gonna say that it is.
Can confirm. It is.
I like that. Let's just call it the opening match from henceforth. Opening match between Kratos and Aaron Stevens against OGK. Ring of Honor tag team titles on the line. The story of Kratos trying to get a more aggressive version of Aaron Stevens is prevalent in this match, and throughout it's quite successful. We get like a very different Aaron Stevens that we have seen since in like this new incarnation of NWA Power. All the while, while Kratos and Stevens are telling that story, OGK are just fighting to retain their titles. They're fighting for their love of Ring of Honor, and they want to be the last Ring of Honor tag team champions, at least until, future events unfold and hopefully to a positive result. But yeah, like their heart is in this match is very important to them. Taven is playing Ricky Morton for a better part of the match while taking a beating from Kratos and Stevens, who again is just like hitting these aggressive notes in stride. Finally, we get a hot tag to Mike Bennett. Finish comes with OGK looking for like this very unique double team. I'm sorry, I cannot place it. I'm sure a Ring of Honor fan will be able to tell me what they were looking for right here. But Stevens, he escapes it by raking the eyes of Bennett. His advantage is lost as he rolls Taven up, but Mike Bennett punches him in the face, reverses the stack, and OGK gets the pin. This was the opener. Again, that's a hot crowd. That's a great tag team match. Hell of a story. Ella, what did you think of this one?
It just feels right for OGK to be like really two iconic figures and a part of a bigger thing of the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. It just feels right for them to be the last Ring of Honor tag team champions for a while anyway. As I mean, we have Final Battle. They're probably going to be wrestling next weekend too at Final Battle for the tag team titles. But really it's cool that NWA is incorporating titles from obviously NWA, but Ring of Honor and Impact as well. And so I think it's cool that if this is going to be like the last run of Ring of Honor, that we get to see them outside of the Ring of Honor bubble in NWA with with Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, but also Kratos and Aaron Stevens are a great tag team. They have their own little tag team dynamic and storytelling that's been going on even when they were champions in the past. So I think it was just a great match with like 4 great competitors, and there was internal storyline, like storytelling, and the match itself was great. And so I think it was the right call to have OGK retain.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% right there. Astrid's also jumping in saying that she enjoys the storytelling of the match. Wordsmith, let's jump to you. What did you think of the tag team titles on the line?
What hasn't already been said? I mean, going into this match, I've never seen OGK before as a team. I mean, I've seen them separately. I've seen them do amazing work on their own. But seeing the dynamic between Stevens and Kratos, not knowing as much, because I don't watch NWA weekly, but you know, I have my ear to the ground. I watch PowerrrOut a little bit, figure out what's going on there. There's tension, there's problems. I really like the way that they all brought the stories together, and that's how you keep a tag team match interesting. It's not just team versus team. My words are slipping. It's not just team versus team. It's possibly team member versus team member, but at the end, can they coexist? I love that type of storytelling, and the match.
As long as it's not overdone. Overdone.
And I don't think that I think we can all agree, even in the comments, and I know comments sections can be divisive. I'm sure some of you can agree that it was really well done, and it wasn't, oh well, this overtakes the match. It didn't. I really thought it added, and as someone who is a casual fan, it really made me go, this is important, and we should pay attention. And that's what we should have during a championship match.
Absolutely. What really excites me coming out of this match, though, is Aaron Stevens' character development, because he's been a very fine hand as a pro wrestler since like the return of NWA Power. But Aaron Stevens' strength has never been wrestling. It's been these really bombastic characters, be it Mizdow, be it Shooter Stevens under the tutelage of the Question Mark. He's great at these big characters, and now like he's got something to really chomp into, some real substance to dive in and show what he is really good at again. And I'm looking forward to that. Parrish jumping in with a comment that popped me, but I didn't want to disrupt the conversation. If Zach's hair got a job, it would be a part-timer. Yeah, I earned that one. Usually I like to wear my hat for this reason. Like right now, my front is getting like a little out of control. And I do apologize for anyone in the audience that offends. But, right now, I got my little gimmick hat.
Own it, Zach. Own it.
Thank you. I shook my head a couple times. I'm wondering can you hear the bell?
A little bit, not much though, honestly.
Okay, I'll bring it close to the microphone when it gets really important. It's I'll pick my spots. But we move on. Before I
think I'm gonna leave. Actually,
Wordsmith, you're just jealous that your helmet doesn't have a bell. Just own it, man.
Next conversation. How about that? I am. And how dare you bring that up? But go on.
Dare Amazing, you have a dumb joke for us. Please share it. I will absolutely jump to it after we discuss
I'll
the
read
next.
it. I will read it.
Wordsmith will absolutely read it after we discuss this next match, though, because we got a favorite between myself and the Wordsmith against Colby Corino. We got Douglas Williams making. I'm not sure if this is a debut in NWA, but again, it's been a long time since he has been in the ring at the very least. Colby Corino comes out with the fixers to
And Zach has been
Rip.
murdered by his kid.
No.
Take it.
Okay.
Technical difficulties. I'll take it over from here.
Please do.
Douglas Williams returned for the first time in a long time, they said, to the United States. And then Colby Corino came out with the fixers, which me and Zach have discussed before.
Carry on. I'm just fixing. Speaking of the fixers, I need them to fix my ring light for me right now.
Perfect transition.
Hey.
The fixers on the job.
You know what? That wasn't even ticket. That was just a spontaneous ring light failure. But anyway, yeah, just to summarize the match, this was a lot more evenly matched than you might expect between the veteran and the upstart Colby Corino. Very back and forth. Colby is able to surprise the veteran with some very unique counters and escapes. At one point, Colby beckons the fixers to stand off while they're on the outside, and they have an opportunity to take a cheap shot at Douglas Williams. But the finish is pretty much at odds with that. Douglas Williams, he looks for the chaos theory. Colby Corino holds onto the top rope while the fixers grab Colby Corino's feet, forcing Douglas Williams to just roll back on his own. Colby Corino looks for some sort of modified cradle slam. I don't really know what to call it. It was a very unique maneuver. Picks him up the win. Really great match right here. Ella, since you covered for me on that last little measure, please take the opportunity to present what you thought of that match first.
I just want to say that Colby Corino, he's been in the game for 12 years now too, so he's kind of a veteran too. And then I feel like, well, especially after what Colby shared on Twitter, I think it was today or yesterday, there was definitely an emotional investment into that matchup, but it was a cool surprise to see Doug Williams coming to the ring against Colby Corino. Definitely two different people from two different places and walks of life. But I think it was a feel-good moment for, I think, me and a lot of people, who saw what Colby shared on there to get the victory for him. And what's the next move too for Doug Williams now that he's back in the States? That's what I want to know. Is it going to be with NWA, or was this a one-time thing? I kind of want to see them go at it again. I think that would be cool too. I thought it was a great match overall.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up what Colby Corino brought up on Twitter, because again, this is the true life redemption story, and it's a person who's earned it. It's not a guy who's just trying to sell his redemption story. I didn't know about a lot of this until very recently, because it's not something he's wearing on his sleeve and trying to sell on a t-shirt or anything. Really, yeah, it was hard not to root for him, because again, I don't want to root for him because he's such a great little smarmy, slimy heel. He's so good in that role. But again, very good match. Very good to see Colby Corino on both feet, standing strong. Wordsmith, during this match, you messaged me before I was about to message you over the same spot in which Corino was looking for a big outside dive, and Douglas Williams just shut it down with one of the most beautiful European uppercuts I've ever seen. So speak to the spot, speak to the match. What's on your mind?
May I we got to get the swear jar ready. What I texted Zach at the exact moment that I saw that beautiful European uppercut, I believe it was a Lope Suicida Excalibur. Don't at me, I don't care. He doesn't watch this show. Who am I kidding? But yeah, he countered it. He countered a Lope Suicida with a European uppercut, and I immediately picked up my phone and texted Zach the following. Can't find my phone. Get the swear jar ready. Douglas fucking Williams. I love this man. I loved this match. I don't even have any points to talk about it. I like wrestling because it's wrestling and it's good when it's good. It was amazing. So
good.
Ta-da. I'm at a loss for words because there's no words that need to be said.
Right person pick up the win right there, Wordsmith.
I mean, I do feel kind of biased here because I didn't actually read what was written on Twitter, but from what I saw in the storyline, wrong person to pick up the win because I thought the ending little spot there with the trip was kind of not the best and a little lackluster, but I guess the fix was in, as they say. So
totally fair.
Fixed.
Yeah, somebody should really fix that. There, I said it.
But just want to say hi to Conrad from Everything Pro Wrestling, who is joining us. Thanks so much for joining us, friend. Glad to have you joining us for our NWA Hard Times 2 reaction. But without further ado, we've got a joke from Dare Amazing that the Wordsmith has promised to lend his gravitas to. The floor is yours, sir.
No gravitas. Why is a NWA show like a Cody table spot? Because it's into the fire. I will be honest, that hurt my soul as much as it hurt you all hearing it. Dar Amazing, you're amazing. Please.
And brings his own drum roll for the punchline. They're amazing. We appreciate you. I hope you know that at any given broadcast, but on this particular edition of PowerrrOut, I am so very glad that you are here. Moving on, we got our second championship match of the night between Kiera Hogan and Mickie James. Impact Wrestling Women's Championship on the line. Very personal match between these two, and I don't mean that they're at a rivalry, but like it's very important for Kiera and Mickie James to be in the ring with one another in this particular contest. Mickey's experience gives her the advantage early on. She has an answer for literally everything that Kiera Hogan throws at her until Kiera is able to find some offense on the outside of the ring and turn the tables. Back and forth action continues the rest of the match. Mickie James reverses a flying crossbody by Kiera Hogan, which into a pinfall, which picks up the win. Really fun match. Ella J, what did you think of this one?
I might cry again. So I'm warning you like ahead of time.
Okay.
That like fuck. So like anybody who knows me, like I felt like when I met Kiera Hogan at Empower, like the day after, like I told her like me and her relate so much because we both look up to Mickie and was like a huge influence for the both of us. So like I felt like I was living vicariously through Kiera too as well, and like Mickie's had a huge impact on me. So it was so cool to see like the full circle moment for both of them, because I was watching Kiera Hogan's videos on YouTube 10 years ago when she met Mickie James. And so like this is something I've been invested in for the long time, and she's made it full circle, and she got to have a dream matchup for the Impact Knockouts Championship against her hero. And it was a great match overall, too. A lot of stalemates between them. I think they had to have at least 6, 7, or 8 stalemates between the two. And the crowd was really into it. They even chanted, "This is awesome." And it was cool because we don't get to, we see those like shows of sportsmanship before, too. But even like before and after, and even there was a backstage interview on Fight TV, like that respect level was just there. It was good emotionally, it was good in the ring, a solid performance. They got a "This is awesome" chant, which didn't happen a lot during the night, but the women got it. And so yeah, it was definitely a really good matchup. Obviously now Mickie then goes on to face Deonna Purrazzo next month at Impact's Hard to Kill. But it's cool too that NWA is bringing in champions from outside through that forbidden door. So for me, it was good emotionally, good in the ring wise, and everything. But I'm biased, so
It was an absolute, again, it was so loaded.
yeah.
These two women had a hell of a match just a few short weeks ago on NWA Power, and like there was a lot of callbacks to that match. And it's the hug at the end of the match just meant everything. You could tell. And again, I don't know if I can articulate it beyond that, but I'm gonna leave it to the wordsmith to see if you can articulate it beyond said.
I don't think I need to.
Yeah.
I think that, and I give credit where credit is due. I would be doing it a disservice. I think Ella put it perfectly, and well said. Fantastic match, and the respect was there, and you love to see that. So I'm not even going to say it. There you go.
Ella, especially after everything you just brought up, it's like it's something of a shame this match didn't happen later in the card because it is so emotionally charged, like far beyond like again. I'm gonna pick on some matches later on that did not have that level of emotional investment. Like not even
one
in
of
the
them
same.
did.
Not even, well, again, we'll get to the ones that did, but the ones that didn't, they aren't even in the same, like they shouldn't even be spoken in the same sentence as Mickie James versus Kiera Hogan on this particular evening. Yeah, like everyone's jumping in. Well said, Ella. It was good from what I saw. They're amazing. Again, like, you know, you can't say a poor word about this match because like this was just loaded and just really wonderful piece of television, and I'm glad. Out of it's not my favorite match, but it's probably the one that I'm glad that I watched the pay-per-view for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So far, it's the ROH tag titles match that still got me, but still great match between Kiera Hogan and Mickie James. I hope both performers are proud. So we move on to a far less gripping contest. Despite the NWA's best efforts, they put a lot of effort into this match, but it's not between, well, again, Scion, you know, say what you will about him. I have no issues with him. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, but against an opponent like Titus, Scion can only do so much. Television championship on the line, no disqualification, no time limit, special guest referee, the Pope. Before the bell, Pope ejects both Jordan Clearwater and Black G's, leaving Austin idle, for he has his managerial license. So what happens here? Scion takes it to Tyrus early on. Both men take the advantage of the no disqualification stipulation, with Tyrus occasionally going for that mask and trying to unmask the mask Scion. Tyrus looks for a pinfall on Scion with a trash can, with which Pope won't count because he can't see Scion's shoulders. Very nice touch there. Tyrus sets up a bed of chairs and he tosses Scion into it. Scion gets back into it with the offense. Pope ejects Austin Idol. Gets very messy at this point. Austin Idol comes back with
Only
Jordan Clearwater. Oh my goodness, it's an absolute mess here. Yeah. Austin Idol comes back. He's got Jordan Clearwater and Black G's back with him. The finish comes with Tyrus provoking the Pope. We get a bit of the Bret Hart Undertaker match with Shawn Michaels, a special guest referee. Tyrus provokes the Pope. Pope looks for the Elijah Express on Tyrus, who dodges, and Pope connects with his running knees onto Scion, allowing Tyrus to pick up the win. Once again, same rules as Austin Aries. Do not elaborate on anyone you don't want to elaborate on. Wordsmith, what did you think of this one?
Well, the Pope was in it. I like that.
Come on, I think Scion at least.
Scion. This was actually the first time, and I said to Madam M at the time, I was like, Scion looks really good, and then that other guy. It's just, you know, and I know that I'm going to get in trouble for this. And Spencer, the swear jar belongs to you. I'm sorry, but you're just the shits, Tyrus. You're just the shits. And let me explain why. when you can't sell a shoulder convincingly in the first 5 minutes of a match, and I think that you're gassed walking around the ring, why are you still wrestling? And also, I remember now, folks, disclaimer here, I'm not a professional wrestler, nor do I think I ever will be. However, I sent a text message to Zach down here, and Zach, you want to just read that text message really quick for me?
Again, I don't have it handy, but essentially you said, like, even without training, you could probably do better in the ring than Mr. Tyrus, Mr. Brodus Clay, whatever you want to call him. Yeah. And yeah, I had no problem agreeing with that hypothetical scenario.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wordsmith says, "Dare amazing." Wordsmith for the win.
See?
Absolutely.
That's what happens when you're truthful. But Sion looked good. I've never seen any matches with him before. I thought he looked good. I love the Pope. I say this every time I'm on this show, and I'm getting tired of saying it. Billy Pumpkins. Pope deserves better. Pope deserves better. Hopefully it's like the Beetlejuice rule. Pope deserves better. Is it going to change? Probably not. Although later on, maybe we don't know.
It's hard not to agree, man. Like if Pope had to lose that television title to Tyrus, of all people, you would hope he would have moved on to something bigger and better. But like, he's just treading water, and now he's referee in this television title match with the exception of having lost the TV title to Tyrus in the first place. He literally had no stakes in this match. So throwing him in, I almost imagine Billy Pumpkins thinking he did Pope a favor by having him on the card. When
he was tying his shoe halfway through the match because he wasn't interested at all.
Like, in reality, Pope could be doing a whole lot better. Ella, do you think you could do better than Tyrus in a wrestling match?
No, I don't think I can do better than anybody. I've been asked, like, would I ever step into a ring, and no. Like, I have like vertigo and all of that, so it would just not work out. But I will say, I mean, it definitely lived up to the no DQ stipulation. I mean, we saw a steel trash can, saw the outside interference. So I mean, at least there was that. It lived up to the no DQ thing, and Pope couldn't eject anybody, and we saw that come into play towards the end of it. So I mean, that at least we got to see Pope later on, though, on the card. So
and Tyrus wasn't there, so it was awesome. It's great.
We got a lot of people weighing their own in-ring acumen against Tyrus. They're amazing with their bad knees, but I think I could wrestle better than Tyrus. Like, again, I don't have a lot of patience for when people think they can do better than our wrestlers, but I think Tyrus is the exception. Anyone says they can wrestle better than Tyrus, I'm just going to flat out believe you not to. Again, I said this to Wordsmith on Tuesday. No, sorry, I already talked about this. It was disappointing that they removed the time limit from this match, because TV time titles generally have the 6 minute and 5 minute time limit, and that was my favorite part of Tyrus matches, that they were limited to 6 minutes and 5 seconds, and they just took that away from me. And,
it definitely went over. Yes.
Who didn't want to see a Tyrus Broadway tonight? I didn't.
Well, friends, much like Tyrus took way more time than he should have on an NWA pay-per-view card, I think we've discussed him more than we should on an NWA reaction show. So let's move on. Again, like, it would take a lot to just rinse the idea of Tyrus from my mind, but sending Mick Foley out right after that was a very good effort. Mick Foley comes out to celebrate Christmas, to celebrate the NWA and his history, and he says that he might just keep an eye on things and make sure no one is naughty. Again, like, Mick Foley puts a smile on everyone's faces. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I just didn't like him saying Tyrus. That's the only thing I didn't like. I was like, no, Mick, no, they're not paying you enough to put him over. That's it.
EPW dropping a trio of Mick Foley emojis, as they shall henceforth be known in the chat room. those are indeed McFoley emojis. Moving on to matches with zero emotional investment. We've got the NWA National Championship on the line between Jedias and Chris Adonis. Again, I didn't even write a national championship in my notes. I almost like forgot about it until it just like popped up in my memory just now. Physical contest, very back and forth action for what it was, which was a heel versus heel match. Chris Adonis spends some of the match working the hamstring of Jedias, and that pays dividends when Jedias looks for a flying clothesline of some sort, pops his hamstring, and that allows Chris Adonis to lock in the master lock, picking up the win. Oh, friends, if you're gonna do heel versus heel, and you want to make it captivating, you at least have to like put some thought into the storyline going into it. This match, the storyline that I can tell, that I can remember from this rivalry, is Jedias was spending the time feuding with James Storm, and Chris Adonis was the secondary in the feud between Latimer and Nick Aldis. So this was an absolute miss for me. I just wanted the match to end far sooner than it actually did. But as Chris Adonis moves on with the national championship. I think that's the smart move. I think there's more to do with him as champion than Jedias. But Ella, what did you think of this one?
I'm actually kind of shocked by the ending that they had Jedias lose via the master lock. I would think that they would want to protect him more because they've been pushing him so strongly. But then again, like you said, it's heel versus heel. It seems strange to me because I thought that Jedias has been one that's been very protected and booked strongly. But to have him, and like I love Chris Adonis, but I'm honestly shocked that he retained here. I thought for sure we were going to be getting a new champion. So I don't know who his next challenger is going to be then.
What do you think is like championship aside? What do you think would be next for someone like Jedias?
The first name that came to mind was a Scion, but I don't know. I think it would be, I don't know, I don't know. There's a lot of, I'm trying to think. Maybe it's Dirty Dango.
Yes, Dirty Dango.
So I don't know. Maybe it's Dirty Dango.
That would be fun. Absolutely. I got time for Dirty Dango on the television screen, who makes his appearance very shortly in the card. But before that, Wordsmith, Jedias versus Adonis. What'd you think?
I didn't get it. It didn't work. Like, it's like you said, it's heel versus heel. And I was like, I don't know who I should care about. And I felt really bad because I'm like, I want to, cheer for Sinister Minister's guy, but I do have a question though.
Please.
And within the Sinister Minister's lore, if I can ask this, where does he keep finding these guys? He's got Abyss, and he messed that up because he's a murderer or something. And then he's got Judas Messias, and now he's got Jedias. Where does he find these people? Answer me that. Where does he get his eyebrows done is my other question. Love me some Father James Mitchell. But
if anything deserves some sort of like peripheral wrestling pseudo documentary, I think Father James Mitchell finding new recruits as he goes on, I think that merits one.
That's an HBO series. That's $1 billion idea. I want to see that. We don't need a new Game of Thrones sub-series. We need Father James Mitchell's new church of just gigantic men with biblical sounding names. And like, I don't understand.
We've got some very interesting answers for your question, Wordsmith. We've got
the people are listening. I love it.
We've got Josiah jumping in. I assume he is finding them in hell, which is
he has been there.
But I also like this one. Well, Astrid was also pondering your question, wondering the same thing, where he is getting these people. But I like Lawrence's answer here. Both the answer is Walmart.
There it is. But you know what? We can narrow it down even more
what
specifically.
section of
Walmart's
Walmart?
in Florida is where they find
In what section in Walmart, though?
Oh, the occult one.
the hunting and firearms section, obviously, Ellen. Where do you find horrible, creepy people who have a god complex? Never mind. I'm going to get in trouble. But you know where I was going.
Well, you know what? Conrad answers your very question. Also, the set of Rob Zombie films.
This is true.
I know that appeals to you, Wordsmith.
It does. It appeals to my questionable music taste, but
home decor.
It's possible. That is a deep, dark section of Walmart. I understand.
Maybe around Halloween they could be Walmart greeters. I don't know.
When did? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting the biblical people confused. When did the latest flavor of the year come in? And
we are getting so much mileage out of this conversation of what section of Walmart James Mitchell finds it.
This is what happens. Wordsmith on the show, and the words come in.
Well, Wordsmith, we're going to move on to a match I know you had been looking forward to. We've got the NWA tag team titles on the line. The End challenges La Rebellion for the NWA tag team titles. Before the bell even starts, we get a series of dives from La Rebellion to the outside until Perro is able to weather them and kind of find the advantage. Bell rings, and they have the advantage at the start of the match. The End spends the better part of the match dominating. Mecha Wolf is able to get the hot tag, allowing La Rebellion to show off some of their very, very unique offense. Finish comes with the End hitting the Super Collider, following by them looking for Hell on Earth. But again, La Rebellion is able to fight out of it. Perro is hit with a frog splash. Then he's hit with a 450 splash, giving the win to La Rebellion. Wordsmith, you were looking forward to it. Paint us a picture of how you felt watching this one.
From start to finish, even at the entrances, I'm just like, this is why I love wrestling. It's just all the things I wish I could see on television combined. You get the Mad Max reference. I love The End. Have ever since I first saw them come out. War Boys for life. Love it. Thank you guys. Absolutely don't give that up. Then, where do I even start with what's the tag team name?
La Rebellion.
I apologize. I'm not good at English anymore. La Rebellion. Dude, I love this tag team. Look-wise, perfection. Moveset-wise, perfection. I love everything about this match. This was my match of the night, and I don't care if anybody agrees or disagrees. You're wrong. Or if you agree with me, you're right. The only person I didn't like in this match was the ref. Because he wasn't involved in either of the tag teams, and I don't care.
Look, I know we spent a better part of the card just liking some matches but hating one of the participants, but we don't need to pick on the ref, man.
No, the ref didn't need to be there. It's lucha style. Whoever dies first. There you go. I want them to fight to the death. I'm sorry. My favorite part of this match before we continue, and I'm going to mark out some more. Did you hear that crack on the Super Collider?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I felt that in my spine. It was amazing.
It was something else. It was something else. Ella J, the tag team titles, NWA tag team titles. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know how to follow up with that with Wordsmith. I mean, after that, it looks like we got to look at the La Rebellion's next opponents with JTG and Dirty Dango.
Yes. Who made their presence known after the bell. Very unique team. La Rebellion.
All of them. Just say all of them.
How do you feel about that tag team of Dirty Dango and JTG? I mean, I know we're just seeing them sight unseen. What do you think, Ella?
Oh, I'm here for it. I think they have great looks, they have the high energy, but they also have the in-ring capabilities to back it up, especially going against a team that is aesthetically different from them and moveset different than them. I think that it's going to be cool to see sometimes those different styles clashing, assuming that those are going to be their next opponents.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm really happy to see Dirty Dango pick up work. Like I'm happy it's in the NWA because it's a promotion I frequent. And he's certainly someone who is always he always grabbed attention when he was on WWE TV. And I'm looking forward to seeing this tag team as well. Dan J jumping in. When are we getting the Hawks versus Morton tag team match? Of course, jumping off of the Battle Royal from the opening from the pre-show. Yeah, hopefully sooner than later. And considering NWA has lots of time for exhibition matches and things of that nature, I would very much like to see Morton's versus Hawks Aries sometime very soon. We move on. We get the grudge match between Nick Aldis and Tom Latimer. Bobby jumping in about Dirty Dango. Where is Tyler Breeze? Hopefully we see him somewhere soon as well. I think he's still very comfortable in his work in gaming culture. I think he's still kind of peripherally affiliated with up, down, down. And I'm imagining, again, I'm purely speculating here. I'm imagining if he was part of another wrestling promotion, there might be a little bit of conflict there. But again, he's still peripherally there on up, down, down, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully we get to see Prince Pretty in the ring sometime soon. But let's talk about this grudge match. Latimer versus Aldis. This is all prefaced by a hype video highlighting their friendship and rivalry. If either is disqualified in this match, both will be suspended for 2 months. Beginning of the match, Latimer powders on the bell, leaving Aldis to chase him around. Both men just trying to one-up each other with their technical prowess in this match until Aldis, embarrasses Tom Latimer by pulling the pants down, leaving the audience to laugh. Latimer turns the embarrassment around with a pile driver, leading to him dominating the match. Latimer takes further liberties behind the ref's back, avoiding that 2-month suspension. Pardon me. Aldis wins back the advantage for some time. Very back and forth home stretch. Eventually, Latimer looks for another pile driver, but Aldis reverses it with a jackknife cover, picking up the win. Again, not as loaded as previous matches. Not so overbooked that it had a bunch of bells and whistles and people running in from either. But this was there was a lot that led up to this finish, in my opinion. Ella, what did you think watching this one?
I was surprised that it wasn't longer. But I think part of that was due to time restraints because another match looked to have gone over time. But I think especially with the hype video going into that, I mean, we obviously saw it was definitely personal between both of them. I was kind of surprised. I think it could have gone on even longer. I wanted it to go on even longer because they had that personal rivalry, and then with Strictly Business turning on Nick Aldis, it was there, the personal history. I think it was good from what we saw, but I felt like there could have been more had they had more time allotted, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. This match needed a little more breathing room, and I think that's true for pretty much every match between now and the finish of the card. Wordsmith, what do you think of this one?
Parts of this match really chapped my ass.
Don't mention all.
Sorry.
Would you say that Nick Aldis is a bum fighter?
No, Zach.
It's
a no from me.
I saw that tweet.
Thank you.
Too.
I feel like if more people watched NWA, it would have been a viral tweet. But sorry, Wordsmith, the floor is yours. I apologize.
I don't want it. Here's the thing. I did like the fake for the disqualification, though. I like the use of the I'm gonna hit him with a hammer. Nope. Then I'm gonna hit him in the yam bag region, as Taz would say. I liked it. I enjoyed that portion. I've seen this feud before and in other promotions. I'm not familiar with its current iteration, but I think it's being well done, and I think it's going to happen for quite a while. So looking forward to see how it ends and where they differ, Because they did actually, the thing that I found most interesting in this, they even acknowledged the fact that they worked together in Impact for a brief time. And I'm like, so we're not going to talk about the time that Latimer totally hit him in the back of the head with a pool ball? We're just not going to acknowledge that because that happened. Why is he trusting this man? But, wrestling's wrestling, so...
Wrestling is wrestling. But I agree with you. This is not the end of the rivalry. This is going to continue. It's going to get more personal, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's championship stakes down the road, which leads to actually a comment from Bobby. I would like to see Tom Latimer versus Trevor Murdoch. I would not be surprised if this is in our very near future. If I were to make a prediction, I'd say in the next 3 months. Latimer is actually the one to dethrone Trevor Murdoch for the NWA Heavyweight Championship. Not necessarily a decision I agree with, but I would not be surprised if it happens and it leads to Nick Aldis versus Tom Latimer for the championship down the road. Dare Amazing, yep, that comment popped me. Are you trying to go bottoms up, Zach? Always. Next up, we've got a match, but excuse me, we don't have a match. We have a tribute to the female fighting phenom Jazz. Kyle Davis introduces her. He lists her amazing list of accomplishments that she has accumulated over her career. She comes out with her husband, Rodney Mack. Jazz, she takes the time. She thanks God. She thanks everyone who afforded her a platform. She thanks Rodney, who she is, and she is so grateful for the myriad of accomplishments that she's been able to attain throughout her career. She concludes the segment, and I think this is one of the best moves that NWA has done in a very long while. They have, Jazz has signed on as a producer for NWA content going forward. And again, one of the best moves NWA has done in a very long while. I afford you both the opportunity to speak on the segment, but also, if you want to talk about just the amazing career that Jazz has had, her one of your favorite memories of what she's done in the ring, please share. So Ella, please, the floor is yours.
Definitely, this was an emotional thing, and I mean, you saw that in Medusa coming out crying just wavingly with the cameo, and it's cool that Jazz joins the ranks as an official producer for NWA alongside Medusa, and it seemed to Lufisto was tweeting a lot about NWA tonight, so she might be considered in that round table too as well. We don't know yet. But Jazz coming out and talking about her career, talking about that WrestleMania match that she came in as champ and walked out as champ, and everything that she's overcome in her career. I agree. Jazz is and was so awesome. She's a legend in the game, and it's cool that she's a producer and gets to contribute towards this current and next generation of women's wrestling. And it's good to have people like a Mickie James, like a Medusa, like a Jazz, in there. They know the business, they know it so well, and to lend their voice towards the next generation and contribute to that. And that honestly, that led into obviously the NWA Women's Championship match. So I thought it was a beautiful tribute.
It was a very nice lead-in for the NWA Women's Championship match. Absolutely. Wordsmith, your favorite memories of Jazz. What's your thoughts here, friend?
I remember when I first saw her, I was like, this doesn't seem like a regular quote unquote diva, we were used to. And then Jazz was a different breed and just amazing. And yes, Jazz was awesome, and I would be doing her a disservice if I chose one memory out of all of them. I have nothing bad, and I won't say a single thing bad about Jazz. I've never seen her do something terrible, something questionable. She's one of those people that is no, you're always going to get, this isn't standard women's wrestling. This is what women's wrestling can be if you let women's wrestling be wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen to what just got said. Sounds controversial, but it's not. Jazz is living proof of that fact.
So. Yeah. I'm with you both. like during Jazz's prime, I was watching a lot of WWE, WWF at the time. And like, I kind of like think back at that time with a lot of regret, because there's a lot of like amazing talent that I was just not appreciating at the time, because I was there for DX. I was there for Stone Cold, The Rock, and like the main draws and the tag team ladder matches and things of that nature. But when I think of like performers who are ahead of their time, my mind always like gravitates back to like that era of women's wrestling. You know, you had Jazz, you had Jacqueline, Molly Holly, and like this amazing crop who would like stand on par with any of the best performers wrestling today. So I was like, and you go back and watch their matches and it holds up. Their work holds up. And like, you know, Jazz recently had a bit of a like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a bit of a resurgence with Impact Wrestling, which is really great to see. And it's really great to see that she's getting her flowers now in the NWA, in TNA. And it certainly invites you to just revisit her amazing body of work available on like various networks like WWE Network and things of that nature. So again, really great segment and a really great lead in to the NWA Women's Championship match. But let's jump into a couple comments. Josiah jumping in, Jazz is so awesome. Simple as that. Nice tribute to her from Dare Amazing. Could not agree more. First time I saw Jazz was her debut in WWE, and Heyman screaming "It." Am I reading that right? Yeah. Josiah. Oh, here we go. The rest of the comment right here from Josiah. It's Jazz. I'm suddenly imagining the Jim Ross voice saying it's Taz, but that's another conversation. Maximize your minutes. That was Jazz. Absolutely. In a time where, you know, many performers were not getting a lot of time, particularly the women's performers were not getting a lot of time. Maximize your minutes. That was Jazz. Absolutely. But let's jump into the NWA Women's Championship match. Camille versus Melina. Melina jumps Camille at the bell. This was a story of the powerhouse versus the veteran. Melina was able to hold her own, but every time that Camille was able to fight out of something, it was with a big power move or a big lift, something to that effect. She had to fight for every advantage that she could against Melina. The finish comes with Melina biting Camille's ear to escape a submission, and she's about to hit Camille with the knee brace, but instead just eats a spear and and Camille picks up the win. Gonna be honest, I was looking forward to this match, and it was a good match, but the finish just really fell flat. Ella, what did you think?
Again, I feel like this is one of those matches that, again, because of an earlier match that happened, some time got cut from it. But definitely, I will say it was definitely a unique finish. I mean, you had Melina put into this like one-legged submission that looked brutal. I mean, it was kind of a callback, obviously not full, like Beth Phoenix like submission we saw many, many years ago. But Melina showed some ruthless aggression, as you could say, by biting Camille's ear and then eating a really mean spear. It was solid overall. Again, I think they could have done more, had a little bit more time been allotted, but I will say it was definitely a unique finish and the crowd was definitely behind Melina. My only concern though is that now this is 2 championship matches she has lost in NWA this year. She lost obviously for the Impact Knockouts Championship and this one. So where does she go from here going into 2022, and who is Camille's next opponent?
That begs the question, like, where does Camille go and where does Melina go? It's not a lot of it's hard to see the forest through the trees right now for either performer. Wordsmith, top of your head, what do you think's next for either Camille or Melina?
It's a hard question, actually.
It is.
But one of the best ways I think we could probably solve that issue would be a gauntlet, possibly. Get all open invitation gauntlet. Either
I like
that
that.
or, bring back Serena Deeb. Who said that?
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I also like what Bobby brings to the table here. We talk about WWE releases pretty much every other week, unfortunately. But Camille versus Taya Valkyrie, that could be very interesting. I know her 90 days or whatnot, or like her non-compete expires relatively soon, and yeah, Taya would be
came back to Triple Mania tonight and faced Deonna Purrazzo for the Reina de Reinas
I
championship.
called that 2 days ago, and I was right. La Huera Loca is back.
Oh,
Bitches.
dang. Okay, I want to ask how that match went, but at the same time, I also respect that there's a lot of people in the comments who might not have seen that match just yet. And
I don't know the results. I just know
Okay.
she had a promo at Triple Mania. She called out Deonna.
Okay.
I was watching NWA and saw this on my timeline.
Okay.
But I know she appeared or had some presence at Triple Mania, and it looks like they're heading into a Reina de Reinas championship match. So
That's
Cannot wait
exciting.
to watch that show.
Wordsmith said he was gonna like pop on to watch that after we wrap up our stream here, but oh, that's exciting. I'm imagining her like I think she was in NXT, so like it's only like 30 days for her. It's got to wrap soon, and like there is no ceiling for a talent like Taya Valkyrie, and excited to hear that she's already making the most of it with a move to Triple A. So we move on. We've got the main event of the evening. We've got Trevor Murdoch. Excuse me. I'm just going to pop into. Nope. Please excuse me once more. Going back to it. Trevor Murdoch versus Mike Knox in the main event. Very hard hitting contest. They're selling a very personal rivalry, even though it was very sold on the fly. Very simple structure. Mike Knox gets his heat in the second act, but it's Murdoch who's able to pick up the win with the flying bulldog. And we will talk about the post-match, but let's talk about the match itself before we dive into the post-match shenanigans. What did you think, Wordsmith?
I think it's a missed opportunity.
You think Mike Knox should have picked up the win?
Nope.
I know what he's going to say.
Oh, he knows. And I said it on Tuesday.
I don't endorse this.
I'll say it again. How did Mike Knox get the opportunity? He jumped him in a cage. Who won the Impact World title in a cage after turning and becoming the leader of a certain group on Impact Television?
Oh, yeah.
Who was affiliated with that certain group? Who is completely not relevant outside of that group? That would be Mike Knox, who was also mentioned on commentary. This is a conspiracy. Billy Pumpkins, you have some explaining to do. Bully Ray was mentioned on commentary by name. And yet, we did not see a reunion of the Aces and Eights at all. I, for one, think this was a missed opportunity. Comment section, come at me. I don't care. I want it back. All right.
Well, again, you got Josiah saying, "Oh Lord, LOL." We've got "Oh no," and I've never felt more at one with the comment section than I do right now. Ella, the main event, what'd you think?
I mean, I just wasn't invested into it. I will say though, I mean, I knew Cardona was in the building, but it's cool that people give him shit. But I mean, it's cool that we're seeing again another Forbidden Door kind of thing. He's obviously been doing a lot of work in Impact, so it's kind of cool that him and Chelsea have now been on the NWA platform, and it looks like he's going to be challenging. And I mean, we saw the Pope come out afterwards too. That whole ending was wild, but it looks like Matt Cardona is going to be next in line for Trevor Murdoch.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be a hypocrite about what I'm going to say, because I had issues with Mike Knox jumping the line and becoming NWA #1 contender, but I also don't think Mike Knox sold more than 10 pay-per-view sales tonight. I think Matt Cardona has a better chance of selling more pay-per-view shares than someone like Mike Knox did.
I think the Aces and Eights possibilities sold most of the pay-per-view buys tonight. That's just my opinion. It's a conspiracy. Fight me on it, Zach. I don't care. We can go all night with this.
You get one more Aces and Eights reference before I throw you out of the chat.
That's all I got. That's all I have. I'm sorry. That's my one moment that nobody likes, but I just sold a better pay-per-view than that ending. And
yeah. You know, again, like the finish itself, like after Murdoch picks up the win, Cardona comes out. He wants to congratulate Trevor Murdoch, which leads to Mike Knox getting a low blow and a whole thing with Mick Foley sending the Pope out, who is just easily taken out by Mike Knox. And, you know, we get the image of Matt Cardona eyeing the NWA prize. Again, a big reason I have time for this is because of Matt Cardona's work in GCW and being the king of death matches, which is just completely not him. Very much in that same spirit, he is not the king of old school. He is not the king of like tried and true traditional wrestling. And there is the same potential with him as NWA champion that we had for him as GCW champion. So I was really discouraged when NWA tried to sell pay-per-views on Trevor Murdoch versus Mike Knox. But at the same time, I give them credit for going in this direction of Trevor Murdoch versus
Wordsmith's just not having
Cardona. I'm a hypocrite and I own it. Matt Cardona. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Ecto. Matt Cardona greater than Aces and Eights. But at the same time, Wordsmith, Bobby's jumping into your support. He wants to see Bully Ray show up in NWA. Can't say it's a sentiment I agree with, but like you're not alone in your views towards Aces and Eights returning. And again, yeah, thank you, EPW.
The Aces and Eights, and I don't even care if I get thrown out. We just made it through the whole card. When you ride with the Aces and Eights, you never ride alone, and my opinion is shared.
It's a thank you for sharing your opinion, and leave it that. Again, that's your last Aces and Eights. But yeah, Cardona was fun in GCW. I'm not a GCW fan, but like I speak on behalf. I speak peripherally from everyone who has been supporting of Matt Cardona's reign in GCW. Excited to see what he could do in NWA. Would you, Ella, would you tune into Trevor Murdoch versus Matt Cardona main eventing an NWA pay-per-view?
I would, honestly, because I don't know. Matt Cardona has really evolved so much. I mean, he's kind of been the king of death matches lately in GCW, and he's definitely reinvented himself. And Trevor Murdoch is like old school, so I don't know how their like vibes, aesthetics, moves, things would mesh. I just want to see it happen. I just want to see like what would happen, honestly.
I'm with you entirely. Wordsmith, again, you can weigh in providing you promise not to mention Aces and Eights.
I feel very, very, very persecuted. And I would love, I actually like was about to just, you know, walk into the studio and go, oh, well, that was a pay-per-view. Mike Knox was in the main event. The Aces and Eights didn't. This doesn't count as a reference to them. So shh, with your, whatever. I was like, all right, that ended. And then Matt Cardona shows up, and I'm like, I don't know why I didn't want this before, but I really want that now. I don't even care if he wins. I just want the promos to go, I'm the best wrestler in the world. Like, I want him to say, I am the Michael Jordan of professional wrestling. If you want heel heat, bring in Cardona as a complete asshole. Mm-hmm. And that's what he is.
Yep.
So why not?
Again, on a main event that I was not expecting much out of, it still leaves us with a whole lot to talk about in the post match, and I'm very excited to see what happens next for NWA. But again, we wrapped up a 13 match card in about an hour and 20 minutes of discussion. So well done us. So friends, well done us. With that, I suppose that's going to be us calling it a night on tonight's Power Out. I want to thank everyone who tuned in live, or whether you, thank everyone who joined us on demand as well on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and anyone who's joining us in the podcast. I'm going to just wrap up with a couple more comments that are popping up right now. Matt Cardona went from being released in WWE to having title shots in 3 different companies in the span of 20 months, says Dan J. Again, when you talk about someone who's just like reinventing themselves, Cardona is like in the conversation, especially in recent years.
Good thing always ready.
Yeah. Good thing with NWA is taping full season of Power plus NWA USA tapings yesterday. So we will see Doug Williams all season long. And yeah, that's good news. Conrad from EPW show, I want heel Cardona in Impact 2. And everyone else just joining me in the celebration of we were able to discuss a full card at length in very dynamic ways, if I do say so myself, in a short span. Before I let you guys go, Ella, where can the audience follow you on social media, and what are you up to in the coming weeks?
Yeah, so if you go to the link or the @ right here at It's Ella J on Twitter, if you go to the link tree in my bio, you can find out everything that not everything, but most of the stuff is there, like my podcast, the writing I do. And coming up, I'm making my commentary debut this next week. So that's gonna be super fun. Also gonna be releasing obviously a new episode of a Wrestling Gal podcast. And of course, we just released me and Alyssa Marino released our first episode of the CCW podcast with Maria Canellis Bennett, the wife of one of OGK, and she's fantastic. So we have some cool episodes coming up with the new CCW champion that was just crowned tonight too, Kylan King. So got some fun stuff coming up, closing out the year.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing, Ella. It's good to be busy, and it's good to see you picking up amazing work. Cannot wait to hear your commentary debut very, very soon. Wordsmith, our very own resident poet, reinventing wrestling promos as spoken word poetry. What's on deck for the Poetry of a Promo podcast?
Well, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Poetry of a Promo. But to answer your question, Zach, the current episode of Poetry of a Promo is on one Ozzy Osbourne who celebrated, I believe it's in human years it's 73, but in Ozzy years it's about 175. We're talking about the relationship, if you will, between Ozzy Osbourne and professional wrestling. It's an interesting one. And next week we have Luna Vachon on Monday. Brand new Poetry of a Promo. It has been described as the most metal promo of all time. Tune in to find out what it sounds like as a poem. It'll be disturbing, maybe.
Marvelous. Can't wait to hear it, Wordsmith. As for me, you can catch me Tuesday again on Love Wrestling for another edition of Power Out, which will cover the post-show, the post Hard Times 2 edition of Power Out, of Power. Geez, so many powers and me jumbling my words. Also on Thursday, you can expect me to host the Champions edition of Quizplex. Again, past champions include Veda Scott, Shane Hawk, and Holden Albright. Hopefully we can get all 3 back for this week's Quizplex, but we will keep you up to date on all that good stuff. Follow me on social media at SmarkMouth on Twitter, at smark.mouth on Instagram, and the Smark and Friends podcast on Twitter at Smark and Friends. Thanks so much for joining Ella, Wordsmith, and I for our reaction to NWA Hard Times 2. We're going to be back Tuesday. Till then, friends.